Hello, and welcome back to the Ask the Color Expert podcast. Today's special guest is Emily Pinegar. She is the owner of Salon M Suites in Utah. She is an educator. She has an amazing apprenticeship program. She's a mom. She's been in the industry for 32 years, and I'm so excited to have her here today. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited about everything that I just said about you, but especially the apprenticeship piece. That has been something that I have been so passionate about, is trying to help people from the beginning stage of their career. And there are not enough people like you taking that on, because it is a big, giant commitment. But just doing the pre-interview chat with you, I'm exhausted for you, Emily. you're, you're behind the chair doing services. You have suites that you're managing and taking care of, and you're doing these apprenticeship trainings. And my first question to you about the apprenticeship is, are you using an outside company? I know a friend of mine does something called Adarashi, where they take care of the bookwork that's involved, because most salon owners, as much as they're passionate about helping somebody new with the hard skills, with sectioning the hair, cutting the hair, all the physical technique, not so much sitting saying read chapter 2 and let me quiz you on it kind of thing. So kudos to you that you're doing it all
Well,
for
thank you.
everything.
Yeah. And I have my method, my madness to my method of why I haven't hired an outside source to do that. I want to make sure that from the beginning to the very end, that my stylists who are going through my program are from A to Z, and that I know that they have gotten there from A to Z. That I feel like that is where they're writing under my license. That's my sole responsibility, to not just have a check mark. Because if I walk in and they're sectioning the hair wrong, then I probably missed that chapter with them.
Absolutely. And my biggest red flag concern that popped right into my head as soon as you said your setup was, as a salon owner of, I think I'm going on 37 years, something like that, knowing the heart and soul that I put into training every single one of the people that has come to work with me after they were already licensed. I know how that feels. That's a huge undertaking, let alone what you're doing. You're doing twice as much with the brand new thing. But we all, as salon owners, know what it feels like to put all your time and energy into someone, have them stay just long enough to get nice and busy, and then decide that they want to leave. It sounds to me like you're a genius and you've already planned for all of that, because you have the suites right there that they can grow into, or you have where they can work, with you and do the commission thing. It's kind of like you've given the path for every single scenario. But as an apprentice coming in, if I was, not already a hairdresser and I want to come to you and do my apprenticeship, what does that look like? Do I pay you for that time? Do you pay me? Do I promise to work for you for a year? Tell me about that.
So is how I work it is a charge of $25,000 to go through my program, and to apprentice under me. And when my apprentice get to the point that I feel like it's okay for them to be charging for haircuts and colors and stuff, then I actually will give them a commission of what they're going to charge. I discount. So like right now I've got my apprentice right now, she'll be done with the program hopefully in June. She's been with me since July. Her colors right now are looking flawless. And so I'm having her bring clients and guests in, and I discount them from our salon costs, from what we charge, 20%. But then I also pay her, I give her a commission off what she's making, off what she's doing. I want them to feel satisfied. And I want them to see, you go through cosmetology, beauty school, hair design school, you're putting in 40 hours a week, you're grinding. And then some of these stylists still have to go out and work on the side, right? So I want them to see that there is a satisfaction to getting paid too. So yes, they pay me, but then we pay them also for the guests that they're bringing in and doing stuff on.
That's amazing. I love that. The barrier of entry for myself, I had a they call it an entrepreneurial seizure in the E-Myth. I love the E-Myth. I don't know if you've ever listened to the
I
cassettes.
have,
Well,
yeah.
that's aging myself, but
No, no.
he says you have this great idea. As entrepreneurs, our mind never stops. I was up all night last night getting on my phone and making voice memos of things that were popping into my brain so I didn't forget. But when I really felt like that was what I wanted to do with my now salon in Pennsylvania, I had an upstairs that was an apartment. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make that into exactly what you're talking, like a little training center. I'm going to have people come to me right out of high school. I'm going to take them from the beginning to the end. I'm going to do everything with them. They're not going to have to go to beauty school and, not learn as much and not have as much attention. And the state makes it so difficult. I would have had to go back to beauty school. Now, this was when I was in the industry, probably 25 years. They were going to make me go to beauty school to get my teacher's license. And I went to the local school and I asked about tuition. I think it was going to be something like $18,000 and it was 6 months full time. So I said, okay, let me get this straight. I have to walk away from a full clientele where I make a lot of money doing hair behind the chair to pay you $18,000 to supposedly teach me how to teach people when I have 25 more years experience than any teacher in the building. And they're like, yeah, and you have to go full time. You can't go part time. And I'm like, I'm going to lose my whole clientele to give up everything and all of my
The
income
teaching
to be able
certificate.
to then help people. Like it's insanity. And I've
Yeah.
gone to meetings with like people that fight for the state board, to go to Capitol Hill and fight for all the things. And they are working on trying to fix some of these things because then, I'm going to get fired up and get on a totally different subject.
Okay.
But I don't know if you saw the whole Sally Beauty supply thing where they're like, they've trained licensed hairdressers teaching people how to formulate and do their own color and putting it in their cart. So I'm like, how is the same state that doesn't allow me to help a person, give them a career that they could possibly earn, 6 figures in a short period of time, learning under me? I can't teach them, but Sally can teach the consumer how to do their own hair and give them the chemical to use with no license. Like it just doesn't make sense. So I'm
Yeah,
excited that you were able to do
a
it.
lot of the state laws, and I know that we're different from state to state, but a lot of the state laws I feel like need also to be revamped and looked at. And I visited very extensively with Doppel here in Utah because there's a law here that you can have 2 apprentice under you, but you can only have 1 with you in the building, if that makes sense. So Sally can go for 20 hours and Jane can go for 20 hours if you're working a 40-hour week. So the way that my salon works, my hair bestie, we call each other, she also does an apprenticeship with a gal. And I've talked to the state, it's really difficult to have just one student in there because then who are they going to be washing and styling and learning on? You know what I mean? There needs to be more than that. And our state right now is recognizing that. There's some laws that got missed in the last legislature about it. And so hopefully it'll come up again. But I do agree that there's some things that my eyebrows kind of raise and go, what? Especially when I've been doing hair for 32 years. And the reason I started this was because, as I had told you earlier, I had managed a salon and I had all these stylists coming in wanting jobs and then would hire these stylists. And it's like, you don't know what a balayage is. You don't know what this is. You don't know what that is. And you don't understand the pH balance of the hair. You don't understand the pH of what color does, you know what I mean? And I just was like, this is killing me that we're in a high class salon, but the stylists aren't trained well enough. So that was my biggest move to do this, was to let's get some stylists out there who we can train and who we can teach that they are worth the money. So I have one
Absolutely.
gal who works for me right now. She's a commissioned stylist, and um, she's pregnant right now. And she was my apprentice a few years back. And she checked her guest out the other day. And I looked at her and I said, $850, huh? For a few hours. And she raised her eyebrows and she's like, well, when you learn from the best, you charge what you're worth. And she just laughed and walked away. And I'm like, you know what? She knows her worth. She knows what she's worth. She's doing a color correction and she knows that she's worth that. So
It is amazing. I've been out from behind the chair going on 6 years now. And there's some days being here, I moved from Pennsylvania to Florida, and I've seen some really bad color walking around in Florida. So I know I shouldn't say there isn't any good, but I have not found anyone who's really amazing at color. And, the pricing since I stepped away just in the last 6 years, something that I would feel badly about, with 30 plus years experience charging 350 for, is now, to your point, 850, 950. Sometimes, some days I'm like, shit, I'm going back and taking clients. Like when I see people on forums and they're like begging, they have hair that I know I could fix it in 2 hours very easy. Like it's not that bad. They're
yeah.
like, somebody please help me. I'm like, oh man, I could go in, for a half a day and get $1,000. Like that's not a bad gig. But I also, and I know you probably feel this too, because you're doing both. Like I did both for a very long time. I was teaching and running the salon and behind the chair. And I'm 56 now. Like I was like, I can't do this forever. Like I have to pick a lane. And the teaching just fulfilled me so much more later in my career. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would ever not be physically doing hair every single day, I would have told you were absolutely insane. That's how
Right.
much I
Right.
loved it. But now I do it like maybe once a month to do a model for teaching, and I am exhausted. Like, I'm like, how did I do 8 clients a day? No lunch, no dinner, no break, no pee, no water. Like, how
Right.
did I do that?
Well, and I think too, there's also like, and I'm close to your age. I don't know if it's our generation. We have that work ethic where it's like, we will see 8 to 10 people a day. I will double, I will triple book, I will make sure my chairs are full. And some of the stylists, the young stylists who are entering into their career, it's like, I'll take 1 to 2 people. That's all I can handle. And I'm like,
Exactly.
wait, 1 to 2 people, what are you doing?
Exactly. Like I look at the book now at our salon, and just since I've been gone, they're stretching, taking longer for appointments, they're giving themselves breaks. And I just keep looking at it. My husband's like, you know what? Good for them.
You,
Like they
and
know their
if
limits. They know that they don't want to work that way. And he's like, maybe you should have realized that sooner. And
yeah,
I probably should have.
and maybe our, excuse me, sorry about that. Maybe their bodies won't wear out like ours.
Exactly. I was just DMing with my friend. She just had rotator cuff surgery, and we all went to beauty school together. So it's like every time you catch up, somebody's getting another body part worked on that we wore out doing hair. So
Really?
we
Yeah.
definitely can learn a few things from the new generation. But here's where I have a problem, and I'm sure you see it too. The girl that you were talking about, it sounds like she's amazing and that color looked amazing. What
Yeah.
I'm not liking is the not amazing work and the high price tag. All of a sudden, it used to be like when I had people coming to work with me, there was zero confidence, no
Yeah.
confidence and no skill. They came in like a fresh sponge, ready to take it all in.
Right.
Now it's like, 80% confidence, 20% skill, and I am worth it. And my therapist said,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're
No,
charging on like if it's
you're
not worth it, it's
so right.
crazy.
Yeah. You're so right. Yeah. This girl's definitely, she's worked her way up to be worth it, and I do in my salon also, I do a lot of continued education. It's nice because I've got my apprenticeship, but I want the girls and the stylists in my salon to constantly have in-house education, you know?
I'm glad
So,
that you specified in-house, because what happened to me along the way was I would be, it was important to me that they kept learning, growing, learning new things, seeing new things. And I would bring in someone from, say, whatever color company we were with at the time would say, you have such and such points and we can bring in so and so.
yeah.
They would come in and undo every discipline that I ever trained the entire staff on. They would tell them the opposite. And I'd be like, oh my God, like you don't know what they're going to say when they come in. So I had to stop doing it. I was like, if you guys know that you love someone's work and you look up to them and you know that they're good and you want to go see them, we'll pay for it. Like I want you to keep going to education, but I'm not going to just let the manufacturer send me someone that I have no idea what they're going.
Oh, luckily I'm a Goldwell salon and I studied with Goldwell back in New York. And so their educator is from Denver and she's trained back in New York as well. So luckily our Goldwell education is so like I know what she's teaching. I know exactly, you know what I mean? Because I've done some of the training that she's done. And then when she comes in, she's like, okay, you hit it. You tell me, what do you want? So like,
Nice.
it's really nice that way. But yeah, to have somebody come in and undo, oh, that would be a nightmare.
I'm like, well, the one thankfully I went with her to the one thing. It was like, oh, because you have so many points or whatever, here's tickets to this thing. And I went with her and I'm literally like, no, everything that she said, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you're not
Yeah.
doing that.
And I
You're not
and I
doing
have
that.
had that. As a matter of fact, yesterday I had my student do a Brazilian blowout and she had gone to a Brazilian blowout class to become certified. And when she was doing it on my hair, I'm like, girlfriend, what are we doing? And she's like, well, this is how they taught me. And I'm like, all right, just stop what you're doing. We need to go have a conversation.
Meanwhile, it's on your hair, right? You're the guinea pig.
Yes. I'm like, this is how we do it. I did like, don't listen to what they said. This is how we do it.
But we wonder why people burn out and leave the industry in the first 2 years, because it's, when they're not coming to you and being an apprentice and they're going to a school. What my experience has been is that most schools, the teachers are a student that stayed and did the teachers program and then stayed and taught. They never did hair. They never did hair outside of the school. And
Yep.
then they're continuing to pay it forward and regurgitate the things that they learned that don't work, that are old school. And I really thought it was me being just a negative Nelly about beauty schools and talking shit on them. And people would say to me, like, you don't know, things have changed. You've been out of school a long time. I'm telling you, people that have just come in the last year and a half, 2 years, I say, can I see your textbook? They show me the book, same shit, same
Oh,
exact stuff from,
from when
50
we were
years
in
ago.
school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when is someone going to update that stuff and stop? Like, my memory of beauty school is we spent so much time on finger waves and pin curls.
I know.
Okay. Almost 40 years later, ask me how many pin curls and finger waves I've done in the salon. I did finger waves once because somebody was being a flapper for Halloween
Yeah.
and they wanted finger
Yep.
waves. I was like, okay, that comes in handy. And pin curls, never,
No,
ever,
I mean,
ever,
you
ever.
don't even see like the extension methods in textbooks. You don't see, there's so many things that you don't see in the textbook. That's why I still like to go through the textbook so I know that they're trained and and ready for their board test. But having them by my side 40 hours a week too,
That
that's
is such a gift.
really where they're getting their
That's
training.
incredible. How do they find you? Like, how did the people that you have,
Word of mouth.
does it end up being clients, like clients' children that
Oh,
are like, ready to be
no. Like the
hairdressers?
girl that's under me right now, she's from Miami. Her dad's
Oh, wow.
one of the coaches in Miami, one of the Dolphin coaches. So yeah, no, no, it's all word of mouth. Just
So how does
people,
that work with licensing? That's okay that she has to take her test in Florida and she learned somewhere else?
She's gonna stay here in Utah. They have a home here too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, just word of mouth. And we do have a high school across the street from us that I've thought, maybe eventually I'll go take some
It's like you
next
need
year, but
to.
right now I don't. Yeah, right now we're good.
Oh, that is such a better, in my opinion. I know I'll get some hate mail from schools, but I just think like between the government stuff with like they just need bodies in there to get the grants and the loans and all that stuff. And then they don't care if they show up. They don't care if they get finished.
Yeah.
All of those things. You mentioned Goldwell, and I wanted to remember to circle back to this. Did you see that they have one of those machines now that dispenses the color and all that? That's so cool.
Yeah,
Are you going to do that?
there's a couple companies now that have that. No, I'm good. We're good with what we have.
I don't want to get into that because for me, that was always the bane of my existence as an owner was inventory control. And
Yeah.
my husband just inherited this position. So I opened my salon in 1989 in a different location. I was 22 years old and it was, less than 500 square feet. So again, with the entrepreneurial seizure, I was like, this is going so well. I should open another one. So we bought a building, rehabbed the building, opened a second location. Within a year, I was like, oh my gosh, this is way too much. It was wherever I was the successful salon. If I paid more attention to the new one did well. If I paid more attention to the old one, the new
I've
one
seen
started
that
to
a lot.
slide and all that. So I was like, this is too much. So that was the end of that. And the inventory as an owner of running out of say 7N. Oh, we're out of 7N. We're out of set. You're constantly out of one color and you're always scrambling to get one thing. And I would get a phone call from one of the girls. We would have 3 different types of powdered lightener and they would be out of the one type. And I would be going out to dinner with my husband on a Saturday night and I'd be like, we're out of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, is there this and that? Well, yeah, but I'm like, use what's there. Like it was such a torturous thing to always have every single thing on hand. So when those machines came out, I was like, oh my gosh, to have a big tank of all the colors that you use the most of and not have all the half empties and all the mess of all the
I've never played with
stuff.
it. I have never actually seen one. I've heard of it, but I'm a little I have a little bit of OCD or a lot. So my inventory, I also use Salon Scale that helps
I use
me.
Vish and that helps a lot, but
Yeah.
it still is human error.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, my ADD. So my husband was very hands off the whole salon thing. And then we picked up and moved to Florida and we said to my daughter, you're an entrepreneur. She went to college for entrepreneurship. We're like, it's time for us to go. Do you want to take over? She said, I'll give it a shot. She has run it for the last 5 years. She's
Oh,
leaving to travel the world. She's a newlywed. So they're going on a world travel. She's working remotely, virtually, yada, yada. So the baton has been handed back to us. And I said to my husband, I've got my own thing going here. Like, I don't want to go back to all that. But if you want to do it, rock on with your bad self. So he is being baptized by fire and he's coming in today and he's like, what is a shades EQ? What is, like he has no idea what the lingo is. And that is the only thing that stresses us out is like, is there
inventory.
gloves? Is there cotton? Is there enough color? Is there enough developer, the conditioner, the hairline cream, all the SKUs, and then the inventory that is for sale and how many turns and how long is it sitting on the shelf? Like that's like a job in of
And
itself.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
I actually just today came from my cabinet company. I'm having them build me some very specific drawers and stuff to organize my color a little bit better. It's very organized, but just so I can at a glance open it and see. But the other thing that we do in our salon is once the can is gone, you go and put it in a certain garbage receptacle. And then I go through that at the end of the week. I write, or the receptionist does, we write it down. So anything that is in that can, we know needs to be reordered. And that
Yeah, we've done that too, and it's still never right. Because he,
really,
he just placed an order this past week, and one of the girls' father unfortunately passed away. So she wasn't there to open it, check it into the computer. Like if one time they don't enter what came in, it's over. Even with Vish,
and
even
I
with
think
Salon
like,
Scale, even with all those
yeah.
things.
And where you're saying, okay, you're behind the chair, you're doing the apprenticeship, you've got commission, you've got booth right, I
Mhm.
mean, I eat, drink, sleep my salon at the moment, and we're in the baby stage still. So eventually I might be like, okay, I'm going to take a step back and hopefully it doesn't fall apart. But I am still in that baby stage where I'm micromanaging. As a matter of fact, when you heard that phone call, it's because I'm having my receptionist do something else. And I'm like, just forward the phones to me. It can go to voicemail for a half hour.
Be careful. Oh, girl, we need to talk because my husband just said that to me. He was like, I'm gonna have the salon phone. So I said, dude, do not do it. Trust me, do
Oh,
not do it because it can just take over
it
your
can.
whole, like we have a very nice life here in Florida. We don't have our phones bing, bing, binging all day. We're in
Yeah. I
our,
do it very, yeah, I don't do it. I don't do it all the time because I do have a receptionist, which is so nice and helpful. But once in a while, I'm a little bit of a micromanager.
you'll exhaust yourself from that. Trust me. That'll go away soon. I think that you should look into that machine. I really do.
Okay, I'll hit
And
my
entertain it because,
okay.
oh man, just for aesthetics too, of not having the 8 million tubes
Uh,
of everything. I
yeah.
just think it would be really cool.
Yeah,
I know they've come down a lot. I saw it, maybe, God, maybe 15 years ago at the hair show in Italy. They had like the first machine that measured color. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Oh my gosh. But none of the color companies were playing nice with it. It was just pure pigment that you had to make everything, kind of like Logix and Aveda. Like you would have to pick how much blue, how
it
much
must be a
red.
big machine
It's
because to
big.
hold all of those cans, color aunts and top chic, plus
Yeah.
now they've got ammonia free. It must be big.
Yeah. It's big, but not as big as you would think to have all those things.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to hit them up.
I saw the Chi one in person. I have not seen because I was surprised when I saw that
Yeah.
Gold Ball had one. Because I thought the machine was really cool, but then I was like, I don't really want to take on a whole new color line. Like, I don't want to make my girls learn a whole new line. They're used to the one they work with. I don't want to,
Right.
implode
Right.
that. Uh,
Yes.
so yeah, baby stages, but God, you're doing a lot, and I think that you're not asking, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I'm a shooter. I shoot all over everybody. So what I would do differently if I were in your position is I love the whole apprenticeship thing. I think keep that going, lean into that and make that be your point of difference because you will never be like the typical salon owners that wait until their salon is busting at the seams and they're elbow deep shampooing their own clients to then start to look for hairdressers and then complain. There's nobody that wants a job. I can't get anybody to work. Well, you're putting the time in and training these people to work with you, and you deserve to have quality people in your chairs. So that's a great thing. But with you saying, once in a while I forward the thing to my phone, like the biggest thing that I wish I did sooner is delegate more and let go. I am a recovering control freak, like complete control freak. Like, no, you just measure that, you didn't put the developer in first in the bottle. Like, come on, Elaine. It doesn't matter. Like, does it really matter? To me, it mattered because when you put the cream color in, it sticks to the side of the bottle. And then when I would shake it, I would get this like, big spit of developer with no color in it. And I was like, okay, developer needs to go in first so that the cream color can go in and I can shake it and it can all work. So that's where I was overly controlling. And I'm like embarrassed when I look back at how controlling that I was. However, I had an amazing business and the people who worked with me were very successful because I ran a tight ship and I was really into details, like spotlessly clean bathroom, never a hair on the floor in the bathroom, never a hairy brush, never holes in the
Do not use the
towels.
same mop in the bathroom.
Yeah, like just stuff like that. I mean, I went into Starbucks a couple months ago and I literally like shamed them on my social media. I went on Instagram and I was like, really, Starbucks? There was no toilet paper. There was just stuff all over the floor. It was so disgusting. And I'm like, Starbucks is usually the kind of place that you have a decent bathroom, but you could just see that everybody gave up and it was kind of a post-COVID. we've given
Right.
up. We just don't even care anymore. And that I judge a place on their bathroom a lot. Like
Yeah,
that's,
I do too. I do too. I do too. Yeah, I know. That's one thing that we pride ourselves on in our salon is cleanliness, and our reviews show it, like people come in and comment about it all the time. But yeah, letting go a little bit and delegating is something that I've had to I'm learning how to do a little bit better, is delegating. But I'm super lucky too. I'm at a stage in my life where, it's just my husband and I at home. Our kids are off and married.
That's right, baby.
hi, husband. I hear you're fabulous. Thanks for the cameo.
How are you?
I'm good.
So anyhow, like he's a retired cosmetic dentist. And
Oh,
so
I
we're,
need him. I got a short tooth here. I need to.
Fire.
yeah, he goes retired. So we're just
Wait,
like,
ask him about my tongue. I have a varicose vein under my tongue. Has he ever heard of that ever in his life?
Laser it. How about laser?
he
Laser.
said,
All right, I'm coming to Utah. You're gonna laser my varicose vein.
but yeah, so we're pretty lucky that like right now we're just at this super sweet spot in our life that we can just kind of do the whole salon thing. His kids are all married, mine are out on their own, and you know, so it's good. It's good. It was good. It's been very, very good timing.
Yeah. And the one thing that I learned from my own journals, I'm looking at my bookshelf. I have many, many journals from over the years. And I highly recommend journaling because you
Ah,
end up venting to your handsome husband when you come home
oh
and you
yeah.
want to unload all of that. And it takes a toll, trust me.
Yep.
Or your best friend, like my poor best friend, every single time we went out to dinner, I'd be like, ah, da, 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 and she's probably like, I don't even want to go out with this girl anymore. So I started to journal. And what I realized when I look back at my own journals is I'm repeating the same things over and over and over again. And I'm not doing anything to change it. I just keep complaining about the same things.
Yes.
And it was whoever I replaced in that position. Like I would have enough and be like, oh my gosh, she needs to go. And I would let her go. And another person would come and the same thing would happen. And it never, ever occurred to me that it was me.
It was you. Yeah.
It was what I was allowing. It was the lack of boundaries. It was the caring too much. And I see it in you already. It was the like really wanting everyone to succeed so much that it tortured my soul and broke me down. When everybody else was happy, I was absolutely miserable. So
Right.
I will not let that happen to you, Emily.
You're so sweet.
Just be very mindful of that and really write stuff down.
Yeah,
You know,
though
my
that's
husband would say,
advice.
I've been hearing that name a lot lately. Like if somebody's name kept coming up, he's like, I'm hearing that name a lot lately. She needs to go. Because if I'm talking about it over and over again, it's like clearly she doesn't belong in that position.
Mhm.
So,
Right. Yes. Oh.
oh, dog's ready for dinner. Sounds like somebody's delivering something. So you're amazing. I think that everything that you're doing is amazing for the industry. If someone wants to reach out to you about an apprenticeship, if somebody is a salon owner that wants to start doing what you're doing, how can they get in touch with you?
So our Instagram is Salon M Suites, and then or just salonmsuites.com. And then
Awesome.
I'll even give you our phone number, 801-642-2343.
Awesome. Awesome. If I'm ever in Utah again, I loved Utah. I took my kids on a hiking trip. If I'm ever there again, I will definitely stop in to see you.
Please do. Please do. We love it here. Utah's great. So
Awesome. Well,
thank you
thank you
so
for your
much for
time.
having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. This was fun. Thanks so much. And thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you on the next one.